Hey guys, it's King Cryptic here, and today this is gonna be the second part. So, what if Deku had hits time skip? And I'm just gonna outright tell you, I am a stupido. See, I'm sorry to misinform you on how hits abilities work, but I really don't feel like redoing the first part. So I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you how it works now. Because, I can fix it, but I don't really want to, just like I said earlier. And, I don't really need to, because I can still continue it. It still kind of work the same way. So, hit doesn't stop time. It's called time skip because, really, he skips forward in time. Well, to put it in the easy way. In the hard way, hit creates, different realms, like how in Dragon Ball when you die, there's like heaven and hell, or the hyperbolic time shaper, that's a whole different realm. And so with those realms, forwards, it's like time doesn't exist yet to where how it exists and, before he used the time skip. So, and he does that very quickly, travels towards like a future point in time in another realm, and then back really fast, along with how I was bragging about how fast hit is, which is absolutely just insane to think about. So hit can really just like in the anime, he could continuously evolve in that way and skip to future points in time, and that's gonna be a key part in part 2. So I'm just gonna continue on with it right now. So we're starting back where Deku is walking home after leaving all the civilians and the heroes starstruck on how he absolutely just destroyed that sludge villain with the time skip Molotov, just bashing him with punches, berating him with punches and leaving holes in it. And then it just exploded. And all the pieces flying there, and then the heroes, after they comment on Deku and how it was dangerous, like I said in the last part, they picked up a sludge villain. He was taken into custody, and now that leaves us with Deku walking home from the incident, and then he runs into Bakugo, and Bakugo tells him how he didn't need his help. But then Deku will respond to him and say, if you didn't need help, why didn't you just help yourself? And it just leaves Bakugo paused, or he didn't really come up with an answer. So he just ended up saying screw it and just left Deku standing there. So Deku just goes and starts walking back home again. And then after that, All Might drops in and then wants to talk to Deku. And so they go to and then asks if they can talk at a place that, has less people around. And so, All Might gives Deku the whole one for all spiel. Well, I'll wreck on that. First, he asks Deku if he wants to be a successor. And, and Deku is just confused on what do you mean by successor? And All Might tells him how shows him the injury, and then he lifts up his shirt and shows him the injury, and Deku's like, what happened? He tells him how this villain, All for One, attacked him. Well, not attacked him, but whenever they were fighting, he got that injury against him, and he did everything he can to fix it or heal it, and it didn't really go away, and it's been messing with his hero time, so he couldn't be a hero or do hero work for as long as he wanted to, and how that injury just limited it to an hour a day, or he could buff up for an hour. And so after that, and then Deku asks, in depth, what did he mean by, being his successor? And then after that, he tells him, how he can pass on his quirk. And then along for that, he tells him, about One for All and how it works. Deku is just a little bit confused and kind of doesn't believe him, but at the same time, like, it's All Might, so he feels like he wouldn't be lying. And since Deku, he doesn't really have that thing where he wants to get stronger with his own. He does want to, grow with his own strength, but at the same time, he sees like One for All as easy power boost, just like how Vegeta became Majin Vegeta, easy power boost, and he took it. He saw opportunity and he took it. So, and then All Might, says, I want to see where you're at. Because for this quirk, you need to, be muscular, have a strong body, or else, your arms could just shoot off. Or your limbs could shoot off from just the strain from the quirk. And, Deku lifts up his shirt. Deku is as muscular as, like, after the beast training, but times 3. Because Deku has been just doing not only quirk training, but physical training for about 2 years now, instead of just 10 months. So think about that. Think about just going through just grueling training and working on different techniques day after day. That was Deku. Like, before school, after school, sometimes stayed up late just to train. That's why he's this muscular. So then All Might is thinking, All Might says out loud, I guess we wouldn't really need to do any training, physical training, because of where he's at. So he gets more time to train with his quirk. And then, All Might digs in his hair, pulls a strand out, not a strand, but just a little bit of hair out, a strand, and says, "Here, kid, eat this." Deku is confused, and he says, "Wait, what?" Yeah, and then, All Might says in order to, have the quirk, he would need to digest some of his DNA. And then he says, just having some of his blood would be weird. Drinking some of his blood would have been weirder. And unsanitary, so maybe hair would be better. Deku takes it and eats it, and, and then Deku realizes it's getting late, and he just says he has to go. And then before he leaves, All Might tells him to meet up at Dagobah Beach. And then, Deku remarks on the one that's filled with trash. And then, All Might confirms him and says, yes, he's talking about that one. And, from there, Deku just leaves and says bye. His mother was worried why he took so long, but she saw him on the news. And she was worried about him, and she was thinking that's why he was he was late, and he was just caught up with the news and the crowd and stuff. And so we're going to skip to the next day, where Deku met up with All Might at Dagobah Beach. Then Deku tells him that he's pretty sure that the hair digested by now, and he doesn't really feel anything. And then All Might says, remember, you can, how he uses it and how he it's just as a strength enhancement and powers himself up. And then how also it strengthens quirks. So, and then he tells him to try using his quirk, and Deku can just use it with barely losing stamina because he's been training it for a while. And he sees that he can skip forward for longer. And, by a whole 2 times multiplier. And, Deku didn't really think that it'd boost him this much. And then, in this what if, Deku isn't really going to use One for All how he uses it in canon, because, he has a quirk and a style already. He wouldn't really just change it completely because he has this quirk. So he's mostly going to use it as a strength enhancement in short bursts, like how Kaioken would be. But then he thinks back to the Sledgeville incident and how, even without the strength without the quirk enhancement, he was able to stop time for longer, and absolutely just murk the sludge villain. So he's thinking, even with his strength enhancement, he doesn't really know if he could do anything like that again. And then he has this feeling of, just like he feels like he didn't get as far as whenever he first started and realized how weak he really was, even with his strong quirk. And he felt like he felt like he wasn't really using what he was given. He's even more determined to use One for All to his benefit. And then he tells All Might, he asks him what kind of training were we gonna do. And then All Might tells him, since there really isn't he was planning on training him training him by picking up the trash. And so they ended up doing that, but Deku does it way faster because now he has One for All. He has that small strength enhancement, speed enhancement, and then he can partially use One for All for the speed boost, like how Deku used it in the Gran Torino training type thing, but not on the same scale because he has time skip. So he kind of just how he kind of jumps around and uses the things around him in the canon. Instead, since he has those enhancements, he kind of jumps through, and so to everyone else it kind of looks like he's floating, just if he were to run in a straight line or to boost forwards. And then Deku comes with an idea on how to train his quirk even better, since after they cleaned up Deku cleaned up the beach in about, I'm gonna say, 2 months. So they have he has 8 months left until the entrance exams. So yeah, his idea is, what if just I'm making a lot of DBZ references here, how Goku and Gohan in the Eyeblock Time Chamber, they learned how to make Super Saiyan their base form. They were able to live naturally in it. So Deku what his idea was, he'd constantly use time skip, even if he wasn't training or doing anything in his normal life. He'd be using time skip. Time skip would be his life. So every second he could, he just lower that time or that cooldown time that in between where he could use it, and he just keep using it throughout the 8 months. And on top of that, he studied pressure points. So if you see him flipping through books, he'd be going very fast, and on some Doctor Strange type shit. You see his head bobbing everywhere because of how fast he's moving all the time. I don't really know what it is, but after there's the 10 months training, but Deku was still doing school. I think it's summer school or something, even though it kind of looked like the same area. It was probably summer school, I don't really know. But even during that, even if the teacher called him up to do something on the board, he'd still be using his quirk. He wouldn't really care what anyone else told him. And Deku was focusing more on his quirk training instead of physical, because he already did the trash stuff, and he was already super buff from just constantly training. So I'm gonna skip to the entrance exams. We're here now. Well, no, retcon that. Not yet. So we're gonna say that Deku's already about 6 months in, and then I'm gonna say that Deku develops the hits technique where he stands in one spot, using because hit also has this other ability where he can store the time used as energy, and he can use that energy to make clones or copies of himself, or he could do this trippy weird thing. He can just stand, but punches and hits or anything just phases through him. And he can also like create invisible ki blasts. He can cloak those things, which is just scary. Like think of it as if you had telekinesis but as a projectile. He can just force energy so that other people, it just looks like they can't even see it. It's just invisible. So you can do that now after all that training. So Deku's strapped now. So like he won't really have those flashy huge ki blasts because Hit was never really able to do that. Like just those compact projectiles, those types of things. They wouldn't explode everywhere, but they'd still deal damage and push back people. But along with studying pressure points, the perks with that, he's not really that person to drag out a fight. He's gonna find a way to end it because Deku likes fighting, but if he were to really be in a situation where he was fighting a villain and maybe multiple, he'd have to take them out fast and not drag out fights. So that's where the pressure points come in. He could just strike very fast and immobilize, knock out, do whatever to his opponents in a just quick fashion. But now I'm gonna say, how whenever Hit punches, it leaves like a impact point behind it, and purple energy comes out. I'm gonna say that Deku has that because now he is that fast and adept at using his quirk or time skip, and it's flashy, it's lit. I'm just gonna say because it's Deku, because it's Hit. So like up until this point, to everyone else, if you were to like strike with time skip, it just looked like just like if you were to have a strength enhancement and be fast, or if you were to teleport, if you were to go far enough. Yes, so now Deku is in that point, just like I said, he could jump through. So whenever he time stops, he could be almost anywhere out of your vision. That's scary. That's on some horror movie type shit. You look away for a second and it's curtains. Yeah. So now I'm gonna start back at the entrance exams. So Deku's just walking through the gate. He doesn't amaze in how big the gate is. He doesn't really care. It's a gate. He's just walking. Well, how Hit walks with his pockets. He has a jacket or like a hoodie instead of that dumbass tracksuit that he had in canon. He just has that jacket and he's walking with his hands in his pocket, looking clean, fresh. And Deku's confident and like he's not too in thought. He's just walking forwards. He's doing the test and he's making it out. And he doesn't trip, so he doesn't meet Uraraka yet. I don't know, however you want to pronounce it. So I'm gonna say that Deku, along with that, he did have a lot of time doing other things, and like for the tests, not the practical exams, but the other one, he did have a lot of time to study for other things besides pressure points, because he memorizes all of those in the body. Yeah, so he studied like hero philosophy and other things. He doesn't agree with it. He knows what works and like what to do in certain situations, and so he aces that. And he corrects some because he realizes it was wrong. And for him, basically, he has all the time in the world to go back and look at his mistakes 10s of 20s, 30s times over, just to make sure he doesn't get anything wrong. And he aces that and then gets the extra points on top of that. In I'm going to say he finished that in 5 minutes. So, he goes to the next room, like, area, and he's waiting. The teachers are, like, confused because so the teachers, there are people like looking to see if anyone's trying to cheat or anything. And, they saw Deku's head just on some Doctor Strange, turning left and right, looking through the pages and everything. His pencil just going stupid on the paper. They asked to see if ask him if he's okay, and he's like, And then he looks at him and says, "I'm fine, and I'm done." Goes up and then puts his paper and whatever. I don't know. They gave it to the teachers or put it in a pile. He just finished, and he just walks off into to the next area, and just waits for everyone else to finish. And then I'm gonna say that Bakugo comes over, and I'm gonna say he came after like Momo was in there. Momo didn't really see Deku, and she thought she was the first one there, because Deku isn't really, I'm not gonna say he's plain, but he kind of like, he doesn't show his presence. He's not like, he never tries to conceal himself. So if you never spoke, or like if you didn't try to keep a memory of him, or you never seen him, you wouldn't know he's there. If you were walking downtown or somewhere in the city, you wouldn't notice him walk past you. Just like anyone else, you wouldn't remember him either, even if you did end up seeing him. So Momo still thinks she's first, and then Bakugo sits next to Deku. Obviously he sees him, and he's known him for a while now, since his childhood, and then Bakugo just like tries not to, Bakugo just like says, "So why are you here? Why, like, did you, like, how are you already back here?" and things like that. Then Deku just straight flat out ignores him, and then Bakugo scoffs and just looks away, and Bakugo just like gets even more pissed off at the fact that he was the first one here, and first one who's finished the test. So he's tapping aggressively. So not like to the point. He just not something too crazy, but I'm gonna say that everyone's here now, and he's still been tapping for a while. Here comes Ida. Bro, Ida's stupid ass, bro. And Ida coming over here with a stick up his ass, is just stands up and calls out Bakugo for tapping, and saying that he's just just like, it's kind of interrupting everyone else here trying to listen to the lesson, and it's distracting them, which really it's not. Like, nobody heard it except for Ida, because it's like he's looking for someone to just call out or something. I really don't know why this man does this. Bakugo is just like, they're arguing, and then Deku tells both of them to shut up, because he tells Ida how it's really like you were just looking for someone to mess with, because Deku noticed this before. Like, he noticed Ida looking, or not, just like browsing the area, trying to scout out someone to mess with or call out, because that's really how he is. Or I'm gonna say he was doing that in this What If. And how I said Deku is always analyzing everything around him, even if there's nothing to do. And even still this point, Deku is still constantly using his time skip. So just think about that, and building up time from him using it and skipping forwards, and just analyzing everything in the room, the people in it. He knows it, before people even get into the room, and then as soon as they get into the room too. Just like everything, big brain power. So like his eyes, if you were to look him in his eyes, you'd see him his eyes just bugging out, like if he were glitching or something, just going everywhere. Like if he like if it were Sharingan but on crack. Think about that. Just visualize it in your mind. We're gonna go back to like Deku telling them to shut up, and that President Mike is trying to tell us about the robots and explain. And then I'm gonna say that since Deku told him to shut up, and then Bakugo kind of puts up a fight, and then Deku looks at him, and, he knows to back down, but he gets even more pissed off. And then Ida reluctantly agrees to be quiet with his choppy hands up in the air for no reason. I really don't understand. And then, President Mike says thank you to Deku, and he continues on. And I'm gonna say that Ida's thinking about getting up again and calling President Mike out about the 0-pointer, but doesn't really say anything because Deku is there. So he's also gonna have this type of blunder against Deku. And so I'm gonna say that we're leading you to the practical exams, and they're walking outside. Deku, as soon as he gets outside, looking everywhere, and at the same time, Bakugo is also Bakugo's not in the same one. Ida is also just scouting out and just staring at Deku, which Deku notices but doesn't really care, because he's looking around everywhere, no matter where he goes. Deku, I'm gonna say Deku's just right up on that gate, ready to just boost forwards. Retcon that. I'm gonna say Deku's in the back because he's trying to be mindful because whenever he jumps, he's just it's gonna be a sonic boom. He's gonna be fast. He's gonna speed past everyone, and so he just notices Deku just in the back waiting with his arms crossed and his eyes closed. How Hit was just sitting down, like that. President Mike. I'm gonna say President Mike says, he yells 3, 2, 1, go, and the gates start opening, and then he said, the gates open, and then he says 3, 2, 1, go, and then he says, what are you guys waiting for? There are no countdowns in real life, and go. He does his whole thing, and Deku's still waiting for everyone to get out of the gate. And Ida was still looking at him, so he realizes he's confused on why Deku is just sitting there. And as soon, not even an inch wrong, because Deku might as well be a sensory ninja. As soon as the last person's foot is out, he boosts forwards in a straight line, the 0-pointers, not 0-pointers, the 1-pointers. He's just boosting past a bunch of those. Everyone, Ida, he doesn't even realize that Deku is Deku even passed him until he looks back again, and Deku's gone. He doesn't even know where he is. And then he sees sees Deku traveling in a straight line in front of him, and a whole bunch of robots just exploding, but on the sides of him. It just dozens and dozens and dozens of 1-pointers busting. Then 2-pointers, and then he even takes out some 3-pointers. And I'm gonna say that Deku slows down and he starts actually hitting hitting robots to where people can see, and they see just I'm gonna say there's 3-pointers ganging up on him. He does the time skip flash skewer on all 3 of them, and they just explode from the center, and they see a purple light come out of it. They're confused on what his quirk was, because they thought it was maybe a float quirk or something, because he was going forwards, and they didn't mind you, Deku, they haven't seen him take his hands out of his pocket yet, even though they saw the lines hit indicators of where he hit, haha hit. But they didn't they don't really they haven't seen him take his hands out of his pockets, so he's still looking clean while he's doing this. And then I'm gonna say he starts walking back, and he's finding a spot to sit down, because he feels like he's already gotten more points than everyone there, and he feels he at this rate he's gonna take out all the robots, because I'm gonna say no one even took out any of the robots yet, because he took out everything in that first area. So he's walking back and about to sit down, and then a 3-pointer is just behind him, so he does a flash tremor, and they just see him they see him behind the 3-pointer kicking him, and the 3-pointer just flies into the air, just gets blasted, Team Rocket style, gone, goodbye. and then he just keeps on walking forwards again and sits down. But for everyone else, while he was walking, it looked like he was just jolting forwards left and right because he's still using time skip. And then people like snap out of it, and Ida like goes on, and everyone just goes on to start getting the robots, because like, what am I doing? Why am I sitting there looking at this kid? Well, I'm gonna skip forward now. Some more of the robots were destroyed, and Deku's just sitting down with his arms crossed, with his eyes closed. And then they finally since the teachers like, they saw how Deku just absolutely just murked the robots, they wanted to see how he did again, like him personally, because he did it so much like in just a short amount of time. I'm gonna say that happened in a blur for everyone. So like, that was 10 seconds. He got that many points. Like, Deku, not only did he pass by this, like before the 0-pointer came out, Deku already has more than Bakugo. Or more than Bakugo has in the end of the test in canon. So he already got first place. But they send out the 0-pointer for him, not even as an obstacle as it was intended for everyone else, for him to because they think he's gonna fight it. So Deku looks at it but just ignores it. But until like, then he sees Araka. He doesn't even hear her. He sees her before he screams under some rubble, and how like the 0-pointer is about to crush her. And so then Deku he actually takes his hands out of his pockets, and he doesn't. Nope, retcon that. Keeps him in there, and he does a flash spike over to Araka, and just gets her out of there, because just all the rocks just flung into the air. As soon as he saw her, just instantly there, and all the rocks are just everywhere, and he grabs her and gets her out, and then instantly brings her back to the entrance where he was sitting at, and jolts back and looks at the 0-pointer, thinking that he's realizing that he's not the only one here doing this test. Not everyone is as strong as him, so they might not be able to get away safely from this robot. So Deku does the time skip, but he's hitting all around the robot. He just how Hit normally does it, how in that scene where he was doing an assassin job and killed that manager or whatever he was, a mob boss. He was just floating around, got behind the robot, hit it everywhere. And then it's a Molotov, but I'm gonna say time skip zone. It was just a zone of punches around it. I'm gonna say the 0-pointer, it's like that just fell. It was discombobulated, but on all of its joints, head, everything, it just fell with all the purple energy, just lines of energy going everywhere. Everyone's looking at it like it was a light show. It was a light show. It was fireworks. It was crazy. Like, the 0-pointer was just gone, and all the teachers are just starstruck on how this one kid alone took out a 0-pointer and just so many other robots in a matter of seconds. That to them is just, like I said, time skip. It was instantly. It wasn't dragged out. It was instant. But I am gonna say that hurt Deku's hands a little bit, because that's some steel, metal, whatever. Just punching. Imagine punching metal. But that hurt. I'm gonna say it hurt him a little bit. But then again, I don't know, because try stopping something try punching something when everything else is kind of frozen. I don't know, because like I said, I'm not like super adept and just smart in physics. I'm not just a genius or anything. But so, retcon what I said. I'm gonna say he didn't get hurt by just punching. I'm gonna keep that throughout the series. Every time he punches while doing a time skip, it doesn't hurt him. And so Deku just walking back again, while I'm gonna say the head falls behind him. While he's just walking, And everyone is, yeah, not only the teachers, but like everyone else is, the light show and everything I was talking about, while he's just walking back. And he walks through the gate before the test is even over. And then I'm going to say, by the time he sat down again, yeah, the test was over. Everyone, was finished and walking back. Uraka didn't even, get those extra points from saving him. But I'm going to say she still got into Class 1A just because for plot. I'm not really going to change up characters. And, he gets back. And he's just waiting for his letter, knowing he passed. But he just the only reason he's really waiting on it or has it in thought is because he wants to share it with his mom. His mom's not really worried because he knows how much he's been prepping for it. And then just him. Imagine your child just teleporting around the house. That's how she saw it. Yeah, so him just zooming around the house. And then just him always going out to train for those last 10 months. So she believes in him, and she knows that he passed. So she's not really giving it any thought. But she does want to see him open the letter. And I'm gonna say next week the letter came, and he passed. And then first it was Nezu congratulating him how he got in, and that sometime during the school year he wants to talk to him on how he managed, because the test was made by Nezu. He corrected Nezu put mistakes in there on purpose to see if anyone would correct them and catch them. Deku just he did everything possible to get a max amount of points on the test, and he so not only did he pass it, but he got extra points on it, so he's passed everyone else. And, so yeah, Nezu was talking to him, congratulating him about that. And then next, All Might is asked if anyone else is in the room. Deku's mom ends up leaving because Nezu was done talking. I'm gonna say he was talking for a while. Yeah, so All Might is telling him it tells him if anyone else is in the room, could you get them to leave, or go to a place where there's no one else, where there's no one else. And tells him about how he's proud and he knew he could pass, and he was just absolutely amazed on how he took out all those robots in that short amount of time, because All Might didn't really see Deku as much as he did in canon, so they didn't build that type of relationship. They only had just that 2 months of training with the trash. Other than that, he didn't see Deku do any more training than that, so he didn't see how much he really grew from the time when he was fighting the sludge villain, because from then he was struggling against that thing. Now that thing would be gone in an instant, because not hit, but Deku's time skip is unbeatable. Yup, I said it, I'm sorry. Nope, not sorry, actually. Yeah. So, Deku, All Might says how he's proud of him, and that he'll probably be the next one here. No, he knows he'll be the next number one hero, and that he'll be and that he's gonna be probably the greatest successor that there ever was. I'm gonna skip to I think it was the next day. Next day, Deku was walking to school, and I'm gonna say he finds his class. He's in front of 1A, and he's about to. Well, I'm gonna say that Deku's gonna be the first one there besides Aizawa. Aizawa's just in there in his sleeping bag. He opens it. As soon as just a crack in the door opens, he senses everything on that side in the reflection on the glass. Yeah, I'm gonna keep on saying it. Every new way he goes, he senses the whole room, and he already knows that Aizawa is in there. So he just sits down and closes his eyes. just keeps on time skipping or focusing on time skipping and just improving to a point in time. So he just Deku is always growing. Think of it like meditation, but with his quirk. He's just always using it. Like I said, just so many times. Yeah, so just constantly improving. And I'm gonna say, for him, since he's constantly using time skip, it's for him. It felt like it took everyone a long time to get in to the classroom, and Aizawa didn't even hear Deku because Aizawa was probably a heavy sleeper if he didn't wake up until everyone was in the class screaming. Yeah, and so people start to walk in and they see Deku with his eyes closed. Oh yeah, Deku doesn't look like Hit. I'm just gonna say that now. Deku does not look like Hit. He does not have a ball sack on the top of his head, okay? And he's not purple. So he still has that, I'm gonna say, his hair is black, but he has, streaks of purple or, highlights of purple in his hair instead of just having, green. Yeah, and I'm gonna say, yeah, it's just, streaks of purple with his hair most moderately black. Yeah, just jet black with purple, yeah. So, people are walking in and they just see this black and purple haired kid just sitting down with his eyes closed, and, they don't really try to talk to him because if someone had their eyes closed, why would you talk to them? Yeah, so, he's just there, and other people walk in, and, it just piles on, and then and then I'm gonna say Araka walks in, and she's like, I know those purple streaks anywhere. Deku looks up and knowing, he already, knows the people who are in there and how they look. And anytime he heard a name or them introduce each other, he knows their names. It's just that. Yeah. So, Araka, comes in and, he thanks him for saving him. Thanks him for saving her. My God, I need to learn how to talk. I'm not even nervous at this point. Yeah, so he's thanking him, and Deku's like, no prob, Bob. But my name is not Bob. But okay, Bob, I'm just kidding. Yeah, he's like, no problem. Anyone who would have done it, right? Because everyone was trying to get into a school for heroes to become a hero. So if you were trying to be a hero, obviously you'd save someone, right? Or if there was someone in trouble, you'd save them, right? And then Ida, he doesn't really, like Deku because of what happened. But then he still, goes to him and then talks about how he's the superior student for knowing that there was another way to gain extra points. Oh yeah, I forgot to talk about that whenever Nezu, was talking to him from the hologram. But yeah, he also was talking about the extra points and stuff. And then, Deku tells him, he didn't really know. Like he said to Araka, if you were trying to go to a hero school and become a hero, wouldn't you help people? Anyone would have done it. And then, Ida's still shaking his hand and stuff, not getting off. Now, and then, so, Deku just closes his eyes again and ignores them. But I'm gonna say, oh crap, I forgot about the Bakugo thing. Yeah, I'm gonna say that Bakugo had his feet up, but Deku was in before Ida, so that situation never really happened. So he doesn't really talking about arguing with Bakugo on how he had his feet up until after he stopped talking to Deku, and then that triggered Aizawa to wake up and yell at him and said, it took you too long to shut up. And his grumpy ass getting up. And they said, he says, go to locker rooms or whatever and change into your gym clothes. And they're going to do a Autumn Kids, and they're mad because Aizawa just disrespected their no square. They're like, no, touch me there. I'm sorry. Yeah, so Aizawa tells them, to go outside, to go change their clothes and get outside because they're doing the test. And then Ida's all like, you can't do that. And then Aizawa was like, yes, you can, yes, I can, because I am the teacher. And then Ida's all like, you can't be our teacher. Because yeah, Aizawa does not look professional. Because a whole lot sleeping bag. So yeah, they all end up going out. Well, they go out and they change their clothes in the locker room because I'm stupid. Yeah, Kirishima, sees how ripped Deku is. Deku looks like Asta. He's not super tall or anything. I'm gonna say he's taller. He's like 5'1" or 5'2". He is taller than in canon now, because he's been working out for a while. Yeah. So he's pretty tall. I think he's probably as tall as, or a little bit taller than what's his name, than Aizawa. So he's taller. Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'm gonna say he's taller than him, by 1 inch. Yeah, 5'2". Don't ask how I know his height, but yeah. So I'm gonna say that. Yeah, they're out, and Mineta found a hole through the it's to the girl side of the changing room. I'm gonna say he's about to peek through, and then Deku, let's say he hits him in a pressure point, really fast. Nobody else noticed but Todoroki, because he's nosy. Yeah. Imagine in a locker room though. But yeah, except for Todoroki, because he's nosy, and Mineta just can't see. His eyes roll to the back of his head from getting knocked up by Deku. No homo though, not in that way. Please stop. Yeah, and I'm just gonna say Deku walks out, and he's there in the field just waiting for everyone else. I'm gonna say everyone else is there now. Aizawa just gives the whole thing on how, since Deku was first in the entrance exams, he's gonna the practical exam. He's gonna go first and throw the ball first. And and so Aizawa tosses him the ball. Then I'm gonna say it goes a little bit too high. So Deku pulls that weird flex, but okay. And for everyone else, it looks like he just was in place and just teleported backwards, because the ball went over his head, and then he grabbed it and was just walking, and just walking forwards to the spot where Aizawa told him to throw. Aizawa didn't really say anything about it because he's too tired to give a fuck. Yeah, and so Deku is thinking of a way to or thinking of how he's gonna get the ball far or do good on this part of the test. So Deku ends up just tossing the ball in the air, waiting for it to come down. While he's in the air, he backs up, and then he uses his time skip when it's in that exact spot in front of him, and he punches it. He hit Z hits on that ball. If you don't play Xenoverse, you will understand. He hit Z hits on that ball. So that ball is gone. He knocks that ball into orbit. I'm gonna say it's faster than the speed of sound, but it didn't make a sonic boom because I guess time. That happened all in a place where there was no time. So really, when you think about it, since there's no time, there wouldn't be any sound. So he didn't really feel the ball when he was punching it. So yeah. So I'm gonna say that he got Infinity. That ball's in space. Team Rocket blasted off again. Yeah, and so everyone is just shocked because he seismic tossed that ball. It's gone. So they just saw it disappear into the atmosphere. They didn't even really see it travel. It was just gone. And Aizawa reads Infinity, and they just go stupid. How did he get this far? Everyone is just going stupid. Todoroki is just looking baffled, and Bakugo is on the brink of just exploding. Haha, no pun intended. yeah, Bakugo's gonna explode. He's angry. This man angry that Deku just blasted the ball into the sky, well, into space, out of the atmosphere. And he's just thinking, how could he be this strong with a time quirk that could only just stop for just a few milliseconds, not even a second? Because he didn't really care for Deku like that until he got beat the fuck up. I'm gonna say Bakugo was mad, and he has been training more than in canon because Deku humiliated him, absolutely mollywopped him. So he threw the ball angrily, and I'm gonna say he got I'm gonna say this was measured in meters, and he got 100 meters more than he would in canon. And then everyone else does how they would in canon normally. And Araka also gets infinity. And they're not really that surprised because she has a gravity quirk. It's only just her quirk was meant for that one, or was good for that one, or that one test, or part of the test. And then I'm gonna skip to the race. Deku just as soon as Aizawa says go, Deku's there. So that whole test was for nothing. Deku won. Ida was also, I'm gonna say Ida, Bakugo, and Todoroki were there with him. Ida was desperate, and he knew how fast Deku was because of the test, and he was just in front of him instantly, and just destroyed all those robots that fast. So he was desperate. He was using the reciprocal burst. So that's how Ida was gotta go fast. Sonic head ass. So they didn't even register him being there, none of them that were racing, but everyone who was looking just saw Deku instantly there, and they were just surprised. I'm gonna say that he got I'm gonna say he got less than a millisecond. Yes, that is a thing. If there was a millisecond for a millisecond, he got that 1/100th of a millisecond. Yeah. He was that fast. Probably could have got more, but just wasn't calculating that far. Or I don't know how much far down that is. Just decimals of okay. Moving on. You get the point. Yeah, and so Deku, he just aces all the tests, the side to side lunges. For the grip strength test, he just time skip. Whenever he's time skipping, it doesn't really hurt whenever he touches something, so he squeezes it as hard as he wants, and that thing's gone, it's crushed. That whole grip thing is messed up because he pushed it in. Yeah, so that's messed up. They really can't test on that anymore, and I'm gonna say they end up fixing it and doing that again. And then everyone else in canon gets it. Dupla arm second. Sugar Rush guy third, and then Kirishima fourth. Yeah, and then so just I'm gonna skip to the end of the test. Bakugo is you look at him the wrong way. Yeah, you're exploded. It's he's not even gonna say anything. You're just gonna die. Some killer queen, just that type of shit. I already touched the doorknob. Yeah, you're gonna be gone. Just don't. That's how mad he is. To Bakugo, you can't even really put levels to his anger. But let's say he's there. And then I'm gonna say that Deku hasn't said anything up until this point, and I'm gonna say that Bakugo finally lost it. He went and attacked it. What's his name? Deku. I'm gonna say that that Aizawa didn't even notice that Bakugo charged at him until he was right there, and he just crackled up an explosion in front of him, and he tried to explode him, but Deku's ready for everything. He grabbed his arm, turned him, threw him, jumped over him and threw him over. And, it wasn't really, he didn't really slam him, but like his arm was just everywhere, and he fell. That hurt. His arm is just like his he pulled his arm. So like his he's like, he has a loose joint. So yeah, so like Bakugo, it's just like just stuttering. Sounds like he's about to have a stroke. He's just in pain. He is in pain. You know, and then I'm gonna say that Deku pushes it back in and says, you shouldn't attack your classmates. And you know, Bakugo is just not saying anything, and then people are just like, they saw that because, you know, Bakugo's explosions, but they didn't really know what Deku did. They just saw Bakugo on the floor after he exploded, or he shot an explosion out of his hands. You know, I'm gonna leave it off of there because I think I'm about to run out of storage. So yeah, I'm gonna say it again. This is not my art. This is by GD Zenkai on DeviantArt. I don't really, you know, own an account. I don't do art. I do art, but I'm not this talented. So yeah, check out GD Zenkai on DeviantArt. And well, goodbye, clan. This was King Cryptic here, signing out.